Look at Shanghai today. With towering skyscrapers, vast high-speed rail networks, and a massive manufacturing base, China stands as a global economic superpower. This rapid modernization is managed through a rigorous system of central oversight. This priority on internal stability stems from a civilization-long struggle to prevent the state from breaking apart, a struggle that began thousands of years ago. To find the roots of that behavior, we have to look at artifacts like this. 3,000 years ago in the Yellow River Valley, the Shang dynasty used these etched oracle bones for divination, providing the earliest written records of Chinese civilization. During this period, the Zhou dynasty introduced a political concept called the Mandate of Heaven. It proposed that a ruler held a divine right to govern, but that right was conditional. A leader had to be effective to remain legitimate. If a ruler grew corrupt or failed to protect the population from floods and famine, the mandate was considered lost. In the eyes of the people, this failure provided a moral justification for rebellion. This concept created a history defined by repeating cycles. Unified golden ages of stability and expansion would inevitably dissolve into fragmentation, only for a new power to emerge and restart the process. This cycle first crystallized under the Qin dynasty. In 221 BCE, the first emperor unified the warring states into a single nation, standardizing the written language and building a militarized society defended by the massive scale of his terracotta army. When the Qin regime collapsed, the Han Dynasty took over, initiating an upward swing in the cycle. They established a sprawling bureaucracy managed by scholars trained in Confucian ideology, prioritizing social order and civic duty. Under the Han, the Silk Road officially opened. This route funneled silk and jade toward the Roman Empire, while bringing wealth, new technologies, and the philosophy of Buddhism back into the Chinese heartland. Centuries later, the Tang Dynasty turned the capital of Chang'an into a cosmopolitan center. It became the world's most diverse city, where Middle Eastern merchants and Asian diplomats fueled a period of artistic achievement that set the standard for Chinese poetry for 1,000 years. But internal rebellions fractured the state, leaving the borders vulnerable. The Mongols capitalized on this weakness, sweeping down from the northern steppes with unmatched cavalry. The resulting Mongol conquest established the Yuan Dynasty and placed the entire Chinese mainland under foreign control for the first time. For native scholars, this was a traumatic proof that internal division leads to total loss of the mandate. When peasant uprisings finally expelled the Mongols, the new Ming dynasty focused on reclamation. They poured resources into massive physical defenses, expanding the Great Wall into the stone fortress we recognize today to prevent any future northern incursions. Eventually, the Ming court turned inward. They burned their naval fleets and focused on internal governance from within the Forbidden City, effectively closing the empire off from the rest of the globe. The subsequent Qing dynasty expanded China's territory to its largest extent, incorporating Tibet and Xinjiang. However, by maintaining isolation, the Qing missed the Industrial Revolution that was currently transforming Europe. In the mid-19th century, the cycle crashed. The British Empire began smuggling opium to balance trade deficits, and when the Qing government resisted, modern British gunboats easily decimated traditional Chinese forces in the First Opium War. This defeat led to a series of unequal treaties and the loss of Hong Kong. Carved into spheres of foreign influence and hollowed out by internal civil wars, the 3,000-year-old dynastic system finally collapsed in 1911. The collapse left a power vacuum that lasted for decades. China endured a period of fragmented warlordism, a brutal invasion by Japan, and a civil war that claimed millions of lives. In 1949, Mao Zedong's communists emerged victorious. He stood at Tiananmen Square and proclaimed the founding of the People's Republic of China, returning the nation to a centralized government. Mao's attempts to rapidly industrialize, such as the Great Leap Forward, resulted in massive social upheaval. These campaigns and the later Cultural Revolution led to widespread famine and a significant loss of life. After Mao's death, Deng Xiaoping initiated a pivot in the late 1970s. He opened the economy to private enterprise and foreign investment while keeping the political system under strict centralized control. This shift triggered an economic expansion that lifted hundreds of millions out of poverty. manufacturing hubs grew rapidly across the coast, turning the country into a global center for production and high-tech development. By restoring stability and generating unprecedented wealth, these reforms allowed the state to effectively reclaim a modern version of the mandate. Today, that momentum is visible in China's high-speed rail networks and its expanding influence in global politics. But the logic behind these achievements is rooted in the lessons of the past. The modern state's insistence on strong central leadership and its drive to reclaim its historical standing are direct responses to the trauma of the century of humiliation. The modern Titan of China is the latest iteration of a 3,000-year cycle. It is a civilization utilizing modern tools to maintain its mandate and ensure that the chaos of the past never returns.